Jess squares her shoulders and pushes open the door. The air conditioning is cool against her skin. The reception area is bare, except for a potted bird of paradise plant in the corner and some leather chairs. An empty desk bars the way to a long hallway. Beyond that, a few employees walk around in a central lobby, presumably heading for elevators and their own workspaces. "Hello?" Jess asks. She brushes down her now slightly wrinkled slacks and the prim button-up that's a little too tight around the shoulders. Looking nervously at her reflection in the sleek surface of the wall, she fiddles with the collar a bit more. At least she didn't attempt to wear heels. That would have been a nightmare. Jess has no sense of balance whatsoever. "Welcome to Monroe Industries. How can I help you?" A gleaming silver orb hovers in front of Jess. Its front panel scans Jess's face. "Tours are over for the day. If you like, I can provide you a list of times they will be available this week." The smooth electronic voice is the same one installed in all the vehicle computers. Jess rolls her eyes. She likes the old-school Mon robots from before they started talking. This one seems to have an attitude. "Actually, I'm here for an internship." A sharp clack of heels echoes down the hall, and then Abby Jones skids her across the tiled floor and stumbles over her feet as she dashes into the entryway. "It's all right, I'll take it from here," she says, and presses something into the robot's back panel. The orb cheeps and goes back to the desk, hovering in standby. Unlike Jess, who is more than a bit rumpled after that bus ride, Abby looks impeccable in a black blazer, blouse, and pencil skirt combo. She's even wearing a bit of makeup. Her pink lips stand out against her skin, and her bright red hair is swept up in a glamorous French roll. "Jess Tran," Abby says. She smiles, holding her hand out. "Hi, I'm Abigail, but call me Abby, everyone does. We go to the same high school, but I don't think we've met?" "Hi. Yeah, I know you," Jess says. "You work here too?" She cringes at the question, but at least her self-preservation kicked in before she asked, "You know my name?" Then again, if Abby works here, she must have been expecting Jess, so that look of recognition wasn't about knowing Jess from school, it was work. Jess has never so much as talked to Abby before, but Emma, who is on the junior varsity volleyball team, hardly ever stops talking about the varsity members she admires, and, of course, their team captain. Abby led the volleyball team on a winning streak last year, and so far is continuing that this year. In AP English, the one class Jess shares with her, Abby has no problem mouthing off to Miss Reinhardt, and she earns nothing more than an amused laugh. She was on student council last year, and was supposedly a shoo-in for president this year, but apparently she quit the student council for some reason. "Yep, I'm in the same experimental division as you," Abby says, tucking an errant strand of red hair behind her ear. "They told me to see if you were here this afternoon. Weren't sure if you'd be here or not." "Ah. Well, I wasn't sure if the department was an actual part of the company, because the internship seemed made up. But apparently the net seems to think you guys are a real thing." "Definitely real," Abby says with a smile. She hands Jess a folder. "Here's all the paperwork you'll need for tax purposes and to make it official. I'll show you to the lab where we'll be working, and then I'll go get M for you." She leads Jess down the hallway. Her pencil skirt rustles, and Jess blushes and tries to ignore how well it fits her. Jess tries to remember if she saw Abby wearing that outfit at school today. She must have changed into it before she started work. She probably hadn't taken the bus, either. Jess has seen Abby's sleek, driver-operated Mercedes, which Abby used to give Emma and the other girls rides home with after volleyball practice. Emma did mention at lunch today that Abby quit the team. Jess wonders if she quit to make more time for her internship. Abby's stylish black button-up and skirt combination makes Jess's work outfit look dull, and she hopes that Em or whoever else works here isn't going to judge her on her lack of style. They pass by a few other employees, but the lobby is mostly populated by Mon robots flying or whizzing around the floor. There are variations that Jess hasn't seen, models that probably aren't even out yet. Abby waves her hand at a clear glass elevator, and the doors open. Jess stares at the numerous buttons for all 38 floors, and an official-looking keypad at the top. It must be motion-activated, because Abby just waves her hand, and a small button labelled B7 lights up. The elevator's doors close, and Jess tries not to be nervous, being in a small, enclosed space with her crush. Oh gosh, her hair looks especially nice. Are we gonna work together? Jess isn't sure she can handle it. Abby smells nice too, like warm cinnamon and sugar on a cold winter's day. That's not even a smell. Abby smells like a cookie fresh out of the oven, made with a dash of nutmeg. Or maybe like gingerbread? Great. Now she's hungry. Jess notices they're dropping floors at an alarmingly fast pace. She wants to ask about the experimental division and what's expected of her, but she's too tongue-tied. Finally, the elevator comes to a stop, and Abby presses a combination onto the keypad before the doors open again. Okay, here we are. The floor is well lit, but it lacks the hustle and bustle of people and robots moving everywhere as on the floors they passed. Jess's first impression is that the place is a mess. A single white reception desk is emblazoned with the luminous text, Experimental Division. The desk and the chair behind it are the same sleek modern furniture as in the lobby, but everything else is haphazardly thrown together, tables and benches and pieces of scrap metal. Behind the reception area, Jess can see a huge open space filled with boxes and electronic paraphernalia. There's a dedicated area for computer consoles and a raised table covered in tools. In the distance is the sound of drilling, and desktop projectors are scattered everywhere, projecting different hollows intermittently. Abby leads her down a hallway to the right, and Jess peers at the line of doors, wondering who else works here. They stop at an open door at the end, and Abby gestures inside with a hopeful smile. The office also has modern furniture, which contrasts with the heaps of dusty boxes overflowing with paper files. Sorry about the mess, Abby says. We just relocated from New Bright City. Here, sit down. Em will be with you in a minute. Abby's heels tap out a quick beat as she dashes down the hallway. What's the rush? Jess wonders as she gazes around the office. It's not decorated, and everything appears to have been placed in a hurry, as if they hadn't had time to move in properly. A new desktop projector hums on the glass desk. A few DED chips are laid out, but other than that, everything seems to be dated. Paper files were almost obsolete even in the 21st century. Is it a security thing? Paper isn't hackable, Jess muses. Jess can't hear any other people on the floor. Maybe this room is soundproofed. No, she definitely heard Abby walk down the hallway. The boxes are labelled in an untidy scrawl with various codes. One is labelled January Attempts and Failures. There are more of those for each month. Also a very slim file labelled Successes, and it's just for the year. Jess flips open one of the files from the Successes folder. What? This doesn't look like a financial report or like anything she would expect from a robotics manufacturer. There aren't designs or anything Mon-Robot related. This looks like headlines reporting a string of robberies, all for... Jess gasps. Master Mischief. I hope that won't be a problem, comes the electronic voice. And why hadn't Jess put it together earlier? Chapter 4. His eyes glowing, he stands in the doorway. Master Mischief's mechanical armor clanks as he steps into the room. Faded MM logo is blistered in purple paint on his chest. Jess's brain stutters. Has he figured out her parents' secret identity? Is this a kidnapping? A ruse to draw her parents out? She steps back and grabs for the pepper spray in her backpack, but that'll be little help. Mischief is blocking the only exit. He's not an A-class villain, but Jess has never met any villain in the flesh. Despite all the funny t-shirts and silly videos of mischief, and despite Jess's arguments that some of what he does isn't villainous at all, it's hard to shake off years and years of seeing villains do terrible and destructive things in the news. And now a villain stands in front of her. His electronic suit crackles with power. Mischief can manipulate tech, but what is he doing here, in the heart of Monroe Industries? He's certainly in his element. Anything electronic that isn't too complicated, he can manipulate and control for a limited time. Jess has seen him direct cars to rebel against their owners and reprogram traffic lights and signs and computers. Jess swallows and stands her ground. He's silly. He mostly does harmless pranks. He's ridiculous, not scary. But it's one thing to casually joke about villains, and another to see one in person. I know we were deliberately vague in the job listing and interview, but I hope you understand why we needed the utmost discretion, Mischief says. The voice is a little different than what she remembers, but that could be her imagination. It's more electronic. Is that a thing? Master Mischief? Jess asks. Mischief tilts his head. He almost fills the doorframe. But Mischief is quite a few inches shorter than Mistress Mischief, and the difference is always exaggerated in the comics. He looks taller than Jess, and the suit, she can see black fabric at the knees under the metal armor, as if it doesn't quite fit. And the logo is old, too. This version of the suit hasn't been seen for at least a year. What's going on here? Jess asks. Why do you have Master Mischief's mecha suit? Ah, I see you figured that out. I'm M, by the way. Nice to meet you. Who are you? Jess demands. Do you actually work for Monroe Industries? I'm not Master Mischief, that's for sure. But, yes, he works for Monroe Industries, and I do too. I was his assistant, and am his assistant. He's busy at the moment, and I'm running his lab in the interim. M folds his arms and tilts his head, and lights flicker without a discernible pattern on his helmet's front panel. You can laugh now. Villains need jobs too. Jess doesn't laugh. It makes sense, actually. Mischief's power of technological manipulation would be incredibly handy here. If his meta powers weren't low level, he'd be a formidable and almost unstoppable villain. As it is, he can't use his powers very long before he has to recharge, just like her parents. If you're his assistant, why don't you have your own suit? What do you do, exactly? And is this internship with Monroe Industries, or with you and Master Mischief? M shakes his head, and makes a noise that almost sounds like a laugh before it's garbled into electronic static. I'm wearing an old prototype of his suit because we've been incredibly busy working on other projects. New mecha suits aren't a priority right now. And yes, you will be working for Monroe Industries in a subsidiary with special interests. If that's something you're still interested in? M asks. This isn't a kidnapping, is it? The panel on M's helmet blinks various shades of orange, and he throws up his hands. No, absolutely not, M says. We wouldn't kidnap you. Do you want to leave? Why are you here? What's going on? Why would we kidnap you? Monroe Industries isn't about hurting anyone. Neither is Master Mischief. We just like to cause a little mayhem, rob the rich, and generally mess with Shockwave and Smasher. Yeah, that much is true, Jess says. She knows the title villain is a slightly inaccurate moniker for someone who's just a glorified criminal in a mechanical suit, who for the most part just keeps her parents and their superpowers occupied. And just as her parents, as C-Class heroes, are only in the Associated League of Heroes, but not in the Heroes League of Heroes, the Mischiefs, as Class C villains, are not in the United Villains Guild. You're here because you applied for the job, and I think I could trust you, you know? We just need a lot of help in this secret experimental department. M stands still. the lights on his face panel blinking at her. The rapid pattern almost looks hopeful. Jess steps forward. Her shoulders relax and her heart rate slows to normal as she unclenches her fists. She hadn't realized she'd been in a ready position to fight, even though her skills are poor and unpracticed. Li Hua had tried to train her in the Nanqian style. Apologies if I've butchered that, which I probably have. She'd learned as a child from her own mother, but nothing beyond the basics stuck with Jess. Her initial fear quickly gives way to curiosity. The so-called rivalry has always been a source of entertainment for Jess, and she's sure for many citizens of Andover. With M standing there in front of her, Jess finds his suit garish, but not frightening. M is standing, shoulders hunched slightly, looking to Jess for a response. It seems as if he's nervous. Working for Master Mischief? This would be an act of sheer rebellion. Her parents would be livid if they ever found out. And it would be hilarious. And so much more interesting than working at the sandwich shop. "I'm in," Jess says. M's suit makes a gleeful whirring noise. The first afternoon is spent working out a schedule with M. Jess plans to work 3 days a week after school for 2 hours, and then 5 hours on Saturday. She doesn't have any clubs or sports to interfere with that schedule, and finds herself looking forward to work. On paper, Jess doesn't seem to be the brightest of students, but that doesn't mean she isn't intelligent. She just gets nervous when taking tests. What with all those bubbles and the whole thing being timed, and she's left-handed, so essay questions make her smudge graphite all over her fingers. Unfortunately, Andover Heights High School is all about standardized tests. Pass this test to get into this class, take all the approved tracks for your career of interest, finish all these prerequisites to apply to this college. The collective provides many career options. It's just that she wants to be a hero. A proper one, like Captain Orion. So, maybe Jess can't get into the training program because she has no superpowers. She just needs a different goal. But she's working with Master Mischief's company now, and she can learn more about their tech and have access to their resources. If she's good at her job, she can get into a great college, and maybe she can be CEO of a company like Monroe Industries one day. Or have a job here, one that doesn't have to do with robots. Jess knows she's good at learning. When she finds something interesting, she throws herself wholeheartedly into it. She's really good at research papers. It's going to be great. Afterward, Jess takes the bus home. Out of the window, the streetlights flicker. Excitement flutters in her heart. A cold plate of spaghetti waits for her when she gets home. She can hear her mum in her office, writing away and cursing loudly at her characters. And from upstairs come the noises of Brendan's video games or experiments. She can never tell. "How was your first day at your job, Mei Mei?" Li Hua asks as she passes by the office door. "Great. I worked out a schedule, so I'll be there after school and Saturdays. Where's Dad?" Still patrolling downtown, Li Hua sighs. She yawns and stretches, and then puts the notes on her desk aside. "How's your new novel coming along?" Her mother's been trying to break out of writing the backstory for the Smasher and Shockwave comics. "How's your new novel coming along?" Her mother has been trying to break out of writing the backstory for the Smasher and Shockwave comics, and to tell her own stories for a while. She's extremely interested in detective noir fiction set in old America. "It's going pretty well. I just added a character whose husband lost his job." Jess laughs. "You tell Dad that?" "Maybe I will. I'm hoping he'll throw his focus onto something else. Actually, focus on real estate, I don't know." Jess can't help a grin that spreads from ear to ear. "I don't think Master Mischief or Mistress Mischief is really gone. Who knows? Maybe they're taking a break. building up to something big, biding their time. They're still around. Chapter 5. Don't you guys have any organization at all? Jess curses as she trips over a box, toppling forward. She winces, trying to catch her balance. There's a heavy flop as something is dropped behind her, and she hears the whir of a mechanical suit. Em catches Jess before she hits the floor. Jess expects the metal to be cold, but the suit is pleasantly warm, with a thrum of electronics. They're both suspended in the air for a few seconds before Em lands neatly on the ground and the thrusters turn off. "You okay?" Em asks, the electronic voice sounding a lot less electronic than any time Jess had heard it. "I'm good. It's kind of a walking hazard, all these boxes." "I'm not good with paperwork," Em says, and the voice is back to the even electronic cadence Jess remembers. She imagines Em flying around the office in the mecha suit, dropping paperwork everywhere, trying to hold files in the clunky hands of the suit. Jess laughs, and Em's panel flickers in pink and yellow. Do those colours correspond to mood? She should start keeping a log of what the colours might mean. After a moment of studying Em's helmet, Jess realizes she's still being held. "You can put me down now," she says. The panel lights blink white, and then Em sets her down gently and waits for her to stand upright before moving back. Thank you. I did mean to say thanks first," Jess says. "Could have brained my head on that other box, but you saved me. My hero." Em laughs. "I don't think I'm anything of the sort. Not here, at least." Jess grins. She doesn't try to be funny often. It's better to leave that to Bells and sometimes Emma. "You're not exactly a villain, are you? I mean, you work for Master Mischief and you're... Sorry, my friend Bells would probably get me for not asking sooner, but, what are your pronouns?" "Oh, sorry, I forgot that I look like a robot." "No, not really. I mean, the suit's really cool, and it is Master Mischief's suit, right, but I want to make sure I don't misgender you or anything." "She and hers are fine, thanks for asking," Em says. We should probably keep that between us, though, because some of the other employees, well, I'm trying to take care of some stuff for Master Mischief in the interim, and so he asked me to work some things out in his place, so it's important that some people think I'm him." The secret sends a thrill through Jess as being trusted with this information. "Ah, so you're pretending to be a boss? At his request?" Em sounds indignant, and the electronic voice skips, and suddenly it sounds much younger. "Wait, are you my age? Oh my god, I thought you were a senior employee wearing the mecha suit and everything. Please tell me you're not an intern." "I'm a senior intern, and I wear the suit because I need to make sure it stays functional. I have a job to do. You just..." "Yeah, I'm gonna get more boxes." Em flies off in a hurry, leaving Jess standing there puzzled. She's just getting back to work on the file system she's created when Em starts bringing in box after box. The room smells strongly of dust and rocket fuel. She recalls that Master Mischief used his powers to operate the mecha suit. Was this one modified so a person without abilities could use it? Does seem a bit unwieldy to walk in. But really, is it necessary to fly inside the building? The mechanical suit clanks stiffly as she sets down another box. "Why are you wearing that thing anyway?" Jess asks. "It's not like you're going to be doing battle with anyone in here." "Upkeep. And it's helpful for protection, you know, in case..." "Right, because I'm super powerful and dangerous." Jess waves her hands in a mock imitation of her father manipulating magnetic fields. It's his standard pose for all his press stuff. Em must not get the reference, because she just stands there with one green light blinking, watching Jess flail about, until Jess realizes how absurd she must look and stops. Em's visor panel is all green now. The lights keep blinking. "Are you Laughing at me? Jess asks. Em shakes her head, and the panel lights are still green. Jess snorts. Fine, you can just say it. I know I look ridiculous, you're the one who didn't stop me. Maybe I found it entertaining, Em says. Well, we're both interns and on the same level. I think it's perfectly reasonable to tell me why you have to wear the suit. It can't just be a pretending to be the boss thing, because this whole experimental lab is just you, me, and Abby. Jess is talking to herself more than to the robot, but she follows the idea until she finds the next logical reason. It's a secret identity thing, isn't it? You could say that. But you already told me you're pretending to be Master Mischief. And for Abby too, I'm guessing, since she's not freaking out that you're not the actual Master Mischief. Where is Abby, anyway? She could be helping me with this. A few lights on Em's panel blink blue and then yellow. She's busy, in her own office, doing some important letter writing. Jess laughs. Abby, who she knows is in all AP classes, who writes essays on the wrong topic in English class and still gets an A because of her impeccable style and being irreverent. That Abby is doing secretarial work? While Jess is being trusted to handle all these old files and secrets, she sets down an old box, sending dust through the air, and laughs until the laugh turns into a cough. What's so funny about that? Em demands. I dunno, it's Abby Jones? Em's suit is silent, and Jess realizes unless she also goes to AHHS, she has no idea what this means. Trying to find the words to describe Abby, Jess waves her hands. We go to school together. That girl, I swear, would never be satisfied with just letter writing. Unless it's like epic scale, change the world letter writing. I don't know, she's like... Jess sighs, unable to explain the amazing combination of idealism and determination that is Abby. Why don't you have me do the letter writing? And Abby do all this important stuff? I mean, you hired her, you know what she's good at, right? Green, pink, and white lights flicker across the entire visor panel. Jess isn't sure what that means. Every time she's seen Em, the panel has been blank. Just a sleek black metal casing, mirroring the surroundings. It's blinked a few coloured lights before, but today's the first time she's seen the whole panel light up. What does it mean? That's an interesting take on Miss Jones, Em says finally. Jess shrugs. I don't know her that well, we just have the one class together. She looks at the box, grateful that Emma and Bells aren't here to tease her about her crush. It had been a thing freshman year when Emma finally got into the JV volleyball team, and she and Bells would go watch all of the games. Jess didn't understand the sport, and she would always clap and cheer whenever Bells did, but her attention had always wandered to the other side of the gym, where the varsity team was playing. Abby was captivating. She was demanding, angry, so vibrant and full of life. The one freshman on a team full of juniors and seniors, she somehow bypassed all of them in energy. She took toss after toss, spiking and standing tall at the net, yelling at the other team. Abby was formidable and beautiful, and Jess could not look away. It was a thing, and it kind of still is. Jess never planned on acting on it. She's not the kind of person who would just go right up to someone and ask them out. Plus, she doesn't know if Abby's into girls, and asking just seems rude. Jess deftly changes the subject. Anyway, where's Master Mischief? Or Mistress Mischief? I'd love to meet them. I like how both their outfits don't really match, but they're complementary, you know? But Shocker and Shockwave, they have the whole coordinated colours and everything. Everyone knows they're a couple, so it's not really necessary, and it's super cheesy. But, yeah, the Mischiefs are really cool. Are they around? It's not of import, Em snaps. She walks to the other side of the room, opens a box, and starts sorting. Jess guesses even though she's working in the secret lab, she's still probably not important enough to meet the Mischiefs themselves. Mistress Mischief is telekinetic, and with Master Mischief's technology manipulation, they could be quite a formidable team if their power class wasn't so low. It takes ages for Jess to sort through the files, but her diligent perseverance and tendency to obsession pays off. She creates a cohesive file of robbery successes, and even starts an electronic log of all the valuable items Mischief wants to steal. In the background, M clinks and clanks, bringing more and more boxes, and sometimes taking things away. I don't know what's the point of stealing this trophy, Jess says, holding a fat file filled with details on all the time Mischief has stolen the large silver cup, and her parents have retrieved it and put it back in the museum. She stares at the picture. What is it for? The photograph of it doesn't say what it is. It took an entire group of those men, a sports team, to lift it into the air. Jess has no idea why it looks as if knives are strapped to the men's feet. She flips through the current plan to steal it, and the protection details once it's stolen. Whenever the Mischiefs steal this thing, either Shockwave or Smasher is just gonna steal it back. I know, right? It's the stupidest thing to fight over, M says, giggling. The visor on M's mechanical suit is dark, but green and blue lights flash, and then the electronic voice is back, noticeably deeper. I mean, yeah, I tell Master Mischief that all the time. Okay, I made a search system where you can just look up the plan by date or location or object focus, and I'm gonna update everything that's in this room. Perfect, M says. Jess yawns. Hey, can I take a quick break? Sure. Just gonna ask Abby if she remembers how many chapters of The Awakening we're supposed to read for English. Jess gets to her feet. Oh, okay, M says. You do that. I'm just off to the bathroom. Jess snorts. Must be difficult with the suit. You have no idea.